Welcome, everybody. I know you're just getting logged on and logged in, checking your volume. Thank you for joining us for the final Spring into Action, Spring Your Business into Action webinar by Glover U. This is the fifth one that we've done this spring, and I hope by now, by the end of this session, I don't hope, I know, by the end of this session, you'll have everything you need to succeed at a high level for the rest of this spring. It goes all the way back to 5 weeks ago when we talked about team building and empire building. Then we went into winning multiple offer situations. Then we talked about creating an unreal customer experience. A couple of weeks ago, last week, we talked about seller lead gen strategies. And today, we've got an expert on the phones when it comes to lead generation, specifically for sellers. We're going to be interviewing Justin Ford on exactly everything he's doing to sell 100 plus homes a year, mostly, if not all, through the phones, right? There's a lot of people out there that look at where can I get leads? How much money do I have to spend? Where do I have to advertise? And the reality is you're going to hear from a guy today that doesn't ask those questions at all. He just grabs the phone and goes, and he'll tell you what he's doing and how he's doing that. Again, my name is Jeff Glover. I'm with Glover U, and we are in Detroit, Michigan today, both Justin and I. He's actually in a different suburb or a different office than I am. And I know we have a lot of first timers on. We've been averaging about a third of our attendees are a first timer. So welcome. If this is your first time to a Glover U webinar, we appreciate you being on. We're going to continue to deliver content to you at a very high level. We're on the ground. The difference between us and everyone else in a nutshell, we're on the ground listing and selling alongside with you. We're not preaching something that we read in a book or sharing something that worked 10 years ago. We're on the ground listing and selling. I'm running a team doing between 900 and 1,000 homes per year, personally selling between 85 and 120 a year myself. You're going to hear from Justin in a second on his statistics. He's got some pretty awesome numbers to share as well. So for those of you that have been with us before, bear with me for a second while I share the resources. And I also have something new I want to share as well. And for those of you that are on for the first time, I'm going to share with you ways you can access more information at no additional cost. One of the things I'm going to share actually does have a cost, but that's totally up to you. You don't have to take us up on it if you don't want to. All right. So first things first, I want you to write down, or wherever you're taking notes, in your Word document or, and your yellow pad. I'm old fashioned. I actually still use yellow pads. I want you to write down the following resources. I'll share these with you. So today you're going to hear the term scripts often. All right. Justin is a master of our scripts. He used them from day one in the business. He'll talk about that story. And we're also going to talk about how our scripts have evolved. If you want a copy of our scripts, write this down. Text the word scripts, SCRIPTS, plural, scripts, plural, to 55444. Now you might say, well, Jeff, I got your scripts a couple years ago. Thank you. I'm good. Well, we update our scripts about every 18 months. Why do we update our scripts every 18 months? Because the market changes, the industry changes, COVID hit, right? All these things took place. If you're using scripts that were written a decade or 2 decades ago, you probably got the wrong scripts. If you want yours, or if you want ours, text the word scripts to 55444. We'll get them in your hands. While you have your phone in your hand, do me a favor and open up your Facebook app in your cell phone. All right, I'm going to give you a quick tip. If you open up your Facebook app, and on the top right-hand side over by your messages, you're going to click the magnifying glass. All right, so open up your Facebook app. I'll give everyone a second to do that. Click the magnifying glass, top right-hand side. And once it gives you the search bar, I want you to type in Glover space, the letter U, inner circle. Glover U, inner circle. All right, should look like that. When you click on that, it's a Facebook group. It's free to join. It's going to ask you if you'd like to join, and it's also going to ask if you'd like to subscribe to a copy of our quarterly magazine. It's called the Glover Gazette. I used to have one laying around here. Anyways, we produce a 40, 50-page magazine. The next one's coming out May 1st, so you'll be right in time for the new edition. 40 to 50-page magazine of interviews of our top agents around the country, clients that have been working with us for a long time and having some great success. Also, things that we're doing. Again, we're only going to share with you things that are working and, most importantly, things that are profitable. So if you go to the Glover U Inner Circle, anytime we produce a new script, anytime there's a new video, anytime we're looking for role play or accountability partners, that's a single one-stop shop place you can go, and it's free to join. If you want that magazine mailed to you quarterly, That's also free. That's on us. We send out 35,000 copies to realtors around the US, and you can just put in your information there. It's a printed magazine, so don't put your email address. That's not going to do you any good. Put your physical address and we'll drop that in the mail to you. Totally free. That's on us. Last but certainly not least, all right, each one of these sessions we have shared that we have a new coaching program, or our coaching programs are starting next week. Well, they all start next week, the week of the 26th. All right. So if you've joined us for one of these, if you've joined us for all of these, if this is your first one, all right, you got 5 to choose from, and you're going to hear about the last one, Prospecting Bootcamp, a little bit later today after Justin shares all of his knowledge. But starting next week, we have Empire Building, going from salesperson to CEO. We have Buyer Mastery. That's for buyer-focused agents or agents hiring buyer's agents that want them to have training. We have Operations Mastery. That's for executive assistants, or maybe you're an agent, you just want to improve your customer experience. We have Listing Mastery, and we have Prospecting Bootcamp. If you want to join one or two or all of those, you go to gloveru.com and click on programs. They all start next week. So get your seat now, because we keep the group size small. Some of those we only keep to like 12 or 15 people. So there's solid interaction. It's live 45-minute Zoom sessions. gloveru.com, click on programs. They all start next week. You know, some people are saying, well, I'll just wait till the next one rolls around. Well, that's going to be like mid-late summer. You're going to be busy closing all the business that you write from what you learned from today's session. So speaking of today's session, we've got the wonderful Justin Ford. Justin, thanks for being on today. Justin, you're muted. Classic. There
we go.
There we go. Classic Zoom. Is this your first Zoom? What's going on, Justin?
It said I wasn't the admin. The admin had to let me unmute.
Oh, there we go. All right. I'm yelling at you, and now I need, well, thanks for being on, Justin. And
Absolutely.
I know you got a lot to share with us over the next 40, 50 minutes. So let's go ahead and jump in. Why don't you have to assume, because about a third of our viewers and listeners, because some people are going to listen to this later or watch it later, about a third of the people listening and watching don't even know who we are. They've never even been on one of our sessions. So how did we come in contact? And tell us a little bit about your background. We won't spend too much time on the story, because I know everyone's here for the nuts and bolts of what you're doing. Yep. But 3-5 minutes background.
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead. And so thanks for having me on, Jeff. I appreciate it. So back in the end of like 2013, I was coming out of the mortgage business and short sales and loan modifications, and decided that I was gonna get my real estate license. And at the time I was looking around for the right team to work with. I had an idea of what real estate was, just like many of the real estate agents that are on here. You first get an idea of what it would be to be a real estate agent. You get excited about making big money, helping people sell their homes. And so that's what I thought
cars.
It was. Yeah, flashy cars, living the good life, right? Yep. And so, obviously we knew each other for a few years. And so when I reached out to you and we scheduled our interview, I came in to meet with you thinking that, I'm just going to join your team and sell houses. And I remember sitting down, having that conversation with you, to where you basically kind of laid out and told me how you guys do it at Jeff Glover and Associates. And basically you said, hey, everybody that joins our team, has to start out making, expired and for sale by owner calls for at least 90 to 120 days before you can ever, go out and list a home or meet with a buyer or work with clients. And, I had been a telemarketer many years previous, and I thought that, you were asking me to come and be a telemarketer, which was not my idea of being a real estate agent. And you had told me that obviously, 6 days a week, you're making calls. And if you can get through this part of the program, you can join our team as an outside sales agent. And, you had told me something, that day that kind of stuck with me, because I'm sure you saw me kind of sink in my chair a little bit when you were sharing that with me, because I was not looking to, be on the phones making phone calls for, 5 to 6 days a week, for 90 to 120 days. And so you had told me something. You said, Justin, it's going to feel like you're taking a step back, right? It's going to feel like you're taking a step back, but if you'll trust me and you'll follow what I teach and you'll follow my system, in the next several years, you'll be very, very successful. And at the time we had just had our 4th child. And so we were coming out of, a transition to another business. And I said, well, how much am I going to make, for the next 90 to 120 days? And you said, well, we pay $1,000 draw. And, I think that was the kick in the gut. Like, I'm like, there's no way me and a family of 6 can live off of $1,000 a month. And I left that day discouraged, with like a dog with his tail between his legs, because that's how I felt. And I remember getting home and talking to my mentor, and he said, how did it go? I said, it didn't go that good. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, hey, I can only get paid $1,000 a month, and I got to make phone calls for 90 to 120 days before I can ever meet with a client. And he said, but do you think you can succeed there? I said, absolutely. He says, did you ask Jeff for what you really needed or want in order to be there? I said, no. He says, well, then you need to reach out to him. So I sent you an email. I said, Jeff, I'm really interested in joining your team, but I can't live off of $1,000 a month. Can you at least pay me $2,000? And you made an exception for me, because at that time it was only $1,000 for everybody else. That's right. And you made an exception, and, I joined your team. And, do you want me to just share another 2 minutes of how we got to where we are?
I think it's important.
Yep, it is important. So I remember, coming in November of 2013, and the first week, with Jeff Glover and Associates, I sat in a room with other agents, and we watched videos, right, on how to prospect, how to do lead generation, how to get on the phones and really be successful. And I remember after the 5 days, really getting kind of excited, because I saw the potential of what was possible from picking up the phone and calling expireds and FSBOs. And because I had previous phone experience, I knew I was always good on the phone. I just was never in the right vehicle. And so I remember that first Monday after that week of training, I was told, okay, on Monday when you guys come back, you're going to get a phone, you're going to get a list of leads, and you're going to have the opportunity to start, making calls. And so I remember probably 30 minutes into my dial session, and at that time I didn't have a headset or a computer. I was just, dialing one by one. And I remember sitting there after 30 or 45 minutes, honestly, and this is how I said it, and hopefully it doesn't offend anybody. I just said, this sucks, right? I'm like, this is not what I signed up for. I do not want to be a telemarketer. I want to be a real estate agent. Yeah. And I'm like,
I think 100% of the people say that.
Yeah. Like this sucks. Right. Yeah. And so what happened was, about 30 minutes in, I'm like, you know what? I was ready to throw in the towel. Honestly, I almost walked out that day, and I just kind of had to take a step back and say, if I throw in the towel and I quit here, what else do I really have, right? Where am I going to go? And I remember looking up on the board, the sales board that you have in the office, and seeing all the listings and all the pendings that came from calling for sale by owners and expireds. And I says, you know what? I'm going to make a decision right now that I'm going to be successful in this position. And I went on, for my 90 days, being an ISA, set so many appointments during that 90 days. And then, and then transitioned into the OSA position. And, in my first month, I took 30 listings. My second month, I took 33 listings, pended 9 transactions. In my first 12 months, from my first closing through 12 months, I sold 100 homes my first year.
Yeah. And we then promoted you and said, okay, listen, this guy obviously has mastered the phones, knows this inside and out. So then you went from being a telemarketer, a successful telemarketer, right, to a successful realtor, to now a leader of other agents that wanted to become essentially, successful in the business. And so you managed our ISA team, and you learned how to teach people how to prospect, how to teach people how to role play. And by doing so, that actually made you better, didn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, because once I made the decision that I was going to do this and I was going to be successful at it, it wasn't like, okay, let me try this and see how it goes, or I'm going to give it a shot and, we'll see what happens. I mean, in that moment, I made a decision that, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And once I began to do it and I saw the results, that could be created from just picking up the phone and making phone calls and, creating those opportunities. I mean, I got fired up and excited about it. And, when I was promoted to the inside sales manager position, to be able to, take the skill and the system and processes that you taught me, because all I've done is duplicated exactly what you've taught me, and to be able to teach that to the other agents that were joining your team, we were able to see the success that they had as well, just from, again, by following the process in the team.
That's right. And so fast forward to today, you're still personally selling at around 100 homes a year. Most of it's coming from the phones. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yep. And so, yeah, so I was with you for 3 years, went independent, for 4 years. And, after going independent and starting my own company, I remember you had said something, you said, Justin, it's going to be very hard to produce at a high level and also, run a team or a brokerage at the same time.
Yeah.
And, when I left, obviously I left on good terms. I wanted to prove you wrong, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And realized, after a very short period of time that you were right. And so at the end of 2018, I decided to get back into full-time production and, came to a Glover U event in January of 2019, hired Kate to be my coach because I realized accountability was one of the things that I was missing.
Oh, yeah.
And when I hired Kate at the end of 2018, I had done 5.8 million, which was, it's pretty good. But, for someone that, did more than that their first couple of years, I was kind of going backwards. So I made a decision when I hired Kate that my goal in 2019 was to do 10 million. After hiring Kate, I ended up doing 15 million in 2019. And last year I sold 125 homes and did 31 million. And the majority of my business is from prospecting and lead generation.
It sure is. And I remember that conversation. And I know you probably were thinking, and first of all, congratulations on that. And I know you were probably thinking, well, he's biased. Of course he's going to tell me this because he wants me to stay. But I remember telling you, Justin, you're going to need a leader in your life. You're going to need someone that you can look up to every day, someone that can stress you, someone that can hold you accountable. And I think it kind of smacked you right in the face. I saw it in your eyes when you were at that Glover U event and you were finally like, man, this is what I'm missing. I'm missing this environment. I'm missing being surrounded by this type of people. And so essentially joining coaching was you saying, yep, that's going to be my leader, right? Kate's going to be my leader. Jeff's going to be my leader or whatever, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and so
absolutely.
that build that, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, I share the, and it's a part of obviously when I train agents and, I speak to agents and I coach agents even in our boot camp, there's 6 key principles to being successful in really anything in life. But when applying it to real estate, one of those principles is accountability. And I think accountability or mentorship or having a coach, somebody in your corner that actually holds you accountable to the things that, that you're actually looking to accomplish is one of the most important things that I think people lack in wanting to be successful, right? And so when you have accountability and you have a coach, they're holding you accountable to the goals that you have to be able to go out and do the things that you need to do to hit the numbers that you want to hit. And that was a game changer for me.
Awesome. All right. So let's get into some of the nuts and bolts. So if I'm on this session and I'm seeing the email promotions. All right, we're going to learn how to, Justin, how do I sell 100 homes a year through the phones?
Yep.
How do you answer that?
Yep. That's a great question. And, and I'll say it to everybody on here, just like I say it in every group, there's no secret sauce, right? There's no secret sauce. There's no, special process that a lot of us that have been in the business a while don't already know. And this is the same thing why, Jeff, you constantly teach the same thing, because I think as agents, we're always looking for the most shiniest thing or the next thing, to try to help us get deals easily, when really going back to the foundations on what works, it's really making phone calls, right? And so, I think that when it comes to making phone calls, I'm going to share some framework with everybody that's on here. Now, obviously, in 30 to 45 minutes time, I'm going to share this with you, but, really making a commitment to doing these things is ultimately what it's going to take. And so I want to break down and share some of the things that obviously, when I set the foundation of teaching people how to get on the phones and what it's going to take, is really going to be the foundation of it. Number one, Jeff, is, and again, these are things that everybody already knows, is we have to set a goal, right? If you're going to make a commitment to get on the phone and make calls, what is your goal, right? I set a goal in my first year working with you that I was going to sell 100 homes a year. In anything we do in business, if we don't have a goal or a target of what we're aiming at, then we're just going to try something. And if it doesn't work, we're going to move on to the next thing. And so everything has to start with writing a goal. So if you're going to get on the phones, set a goal of what you're looking to accomplish. Every day when I get on the phones, I start with a contact goal. How many people am I going to talk to today? And how many appointments am I going to set, right? And that plays into my monthly goal and my yearly goal of how many listings I want to take. Number two is you have to understand what your purpose and your why is. And when I teach this stuff, I start all my meetings like, this stuff here is the reason why most people are not consistent in this business, because they never really have purpose, or they really never have, a meaning on why they do what they do. And so for me, having a big why is what kept me with you on that day when I needed to quit, right? We were coming out of a hard time, my family and I. So having my wife and my kids as my why and my purpose allowed me to push through and put in the work. Number three is being able to create a strong mindset. The number one reason I believe why people give up on the phones or even afraid of the phones is because of the fear of rejection, right? Not knowing what to say. Those things keep people from getting on the phones to make calls, because the majority of time you're going to hear no. Number four is you have to make a commitment, right? If you're going to get on the phones and actually make calls, you have to be committed. It's not going to just be, hey, I'm going to try this today, or I'm going to try this for a couple of days. If you're going to make phone calls, you need to do it every single day, 5 days a week, right? The next thing is you need to discover, what the purpose of what you're doing is, which ties into your why. And so when you've identified those things, then what you want to do is you have to create a morning routine. And Jeff, we talk about this all the time, right? Own the morning, win the day, right? When you have a daily schedule that you follow, right? A firm start time, no matter what. And if you're watching right now and you're taking notes, write down, it's a firm start time every day, right?
Yep.
Every single day, I get on the phones at 8 a.m. Even this morning, before, I got on this call with you, I was in prospecting sessions. I got on the phone 8 a.m. Every day at 8 a.m. is my start time. And you have to have that firm start time no matter what.
You were late to our coach's call this morning because you were on the phone with the for sale by owner.
I was late to our coaching call. Yep. And so you have to have a firm start every day, because we have to treat guys prospecting, right? We have to treat what we do as if it was our job. Right. And coaching real estate agents on how to prospect. What I find is some people want to mosey on and get on the phone at 9 o'clock or 9:30 or at 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. But the problem is you're going up against agents like myself or others on this call who start at 8 o'clock every day and have already set those appointments. So you have to have a firm start time every day.
Yep.
Then you need to know who you're calling, right? And so from 8 to 10 o'clock every single day, I'm calling expireds and for sale by owners, right? Expireds and for sale by owners every single day. And we know that in this business, because it's such a strong seller's market, there's not a lot of expireds right now. And because there's not a lot of expireds right now, right, a lot of people are saying, well, what's the point in making, calls? If there's only 15 expireds in my market and there's 10 people calling, why even bother? Yeah. Well, here's why you want to bother, because they haven't talked to you yet. And I don't look at how many people are calling the same leads I'm calling. I don't look at the lack of, opportunities. I look at, I'm going to get on the phone. I'm going to be the number one person that they talk to. This is my mindset. And they haven't talked to Justin Ford yet. So I don't care if they've talked to 20 other agents. When I get on the phone and I show up, then my goal is to, be the best agent that they talk to. And even in a market right now where, listings are hard to come by from expireds, I've already still taken, 10 listings this month, and I still have 6 more listing appointments to go on this week. And 90% of that is coming from expireds and for sale by owners that I'm calling every day.
Justin, if I can add to that, my mentality has been for years, and there's actually data to back this up. If you look back to 2005, when we were at, the best market we saw until now, you also had, 1.5 million realtors in the US. Well, when anything is scarce, typically what happens is there's actually more to go around. And so my mentality is, and similar to yours, Justin, if there's less expireds, then I actually believe I have a better chance of succeeding when something is scarce. Because what happens is the average agent who might have been working in that business takes the mindset of, well, there's not really many expired, so I'm going to focus on something else. I've seen so many teams through the years shift their focus from sellers to buyers just because sellers had dried up. And that just leaves more for us. That just leaves more for the people that are going to continue to work it every single day. So I think it's super important, given the condition of the market, no matter where you're at in the US or Canada watching this, if listings are down in your market, and I know they are, then that actually means, and I know this sounds a little backwards, but your mentality needs to be, you know what, there's more for me then. There's more for me. Listings are down. There's more for me. Why is that? Because so many people mentally check out when they hear all this buzz about it's so hard to get a listing. It's so hard to get a listing. It's so hard to get a listing. And we have data that backs that up. If you look back to what happened from 2005 to 2010, the agents that stuck it out actually sold more homes at the bottom of the market.
Yep, absolutely. And this goes back to commitment, right? At the end of the day, when someone's committed to show up every single day and put the calls in and put the work in, it doesn't matter whether there's a lot of expireds or there's not enough. It's just a part of what your daily routine is. And if you're committed to do that every single day, I always tell people, don't focus on the end result, focus on the process. And when you focus on the process and you show up and do it every day, the appointments come, right? Appointments are set. And I think that's where most agents give up, is they try to get on the phone and make calls for a couple of days or a week or 2 weeks. They don't get the results immediately and they quit, right? Yep. And so commitment is huge. And so 8 to 10 every day, I'm calling the expireds, and even for sale by owners. I remember even being the inside sales manager with you, Jeff. People were intimidated to call for sale by owners. And I know there's a lot of agents on here right now who are afraid to pick up the phone and call for sale by owners, especially when it's been only 24 hours that they've been on the market, because they're probably going to say no, right? Matter of fact, there's probably a 99% chance they're going to say no. That's right. Write this one down if you're taking notes, guys. This is one that I've seen really shift a lot of people's mindset when it comes to making calls. Expect people to say no, right? Like, don't be afraid or don't be discouraged when people tell you no. Expect it, right? People are going to tell you no, but what you need to do is get really good at learning how to overcome the objections and get really good at the objection handlers, because your job, right, as a professional real estate agent is to overcome their objections, discover what their motivation is, and that will lead to setting an appointment. Matter of fact, I love for sale by owners, because I know that if they'll at least talk to me and I can get through, the questions on my script, if I get to the very last question on the script, 9 out of 10 times they're going to set an appointment with me. Yeah. And because I don't want to say like I fool them into realizing what they're saying is inaccurate, but I even had someone tell me, like, those questions seem kind of tricky. Well, they're not tricky. It's just, I'm showing you through handling your objections that listing with an agent is actually going to lead to potentially more money in your pocket than doing it as a for sale by owner.
Yeah. And one thing that, if I can add to that, right now, you can't convince a for sale by owner that you can do a better job selling their home. They believe they can sell it on their own. So you're better off just convincing them, you know what, you're right. You probably will be able to sell it on your own, given how scarce listings are right now. And I'm not calling to talk to you about selling your home on, through a realtor. I'm calling to talk to you about getting it to a closing table. And were you aware that 2/3 of real estate assisted transactions don't make it to the closing table today at the same price and terms as originally negotiated? Oh, wow. No, I didn't know that. Right. So you're not doubting their ability to sell their home. In fact, you're actually saying, yeah, you can probably sell it on your own given the low inventory, but you're talking about either how you can put more money in their pocket or get them to the closing table, which are the two things that we should be talking about with for sale by owners right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I, what's great about when you guys really dive into this and begin to study and learn objections, whether you're calling an expired or for sale by owner, they all have the same objections. There's no new objections that they throw out to you once you start doing this. It's just getting really good at learning how to overcome them. And, you don't have to look for every single person that you talk to every day to say yes. I only look for 1 to 2 people per day to say yes. If I can set 1 to 2 appointments a day, then you know what, that's a good day. But even myself, someone that, sells 100 plus homes a year, there's days where I don't set appointments. Honestly, there's been times where I'll go a week or 2 and not set any appointments. But you know what? I don't quit. I don't quit. I don't get discouraged, right? I just keep getting back up and I do what it takes. And so for those that are on here, that are saying, you know what, Justin, I've done some prospecting before, but it didn't really work out for me, or, hey, I'm doing it right now and I'm not really getting the results that I'm looking for. One of the things that you also want to add into your daily routine is you need to create a time frame in your schedule for skill work, right? Skill work is so important, right? Jeff, when I was on your team, the thing that we did religiously, right? Religiously every day, was we role played. right? We role played.
Yep.
We took the expired script, the for sale by owner script, and we role played it daily, right? And what we did is we just went back and forth over and over and over and over again. We wrote out the scripts, right? If you're looking to get on the phones and you want to get really good, download our expired and our for sale by owner scripts from our website, or get those emailed to you and write them out every day. You want to get really good, you need to internalize the scripts, because if you internalize the scripts, then you're not going to sound like a telemarketer, right? You're going to sound like a professional, and you want to be patient. You want to be calm. You want to make that connection with the client. And one of the things that I hear on a regular basis, Jeff, is like, Justin, you're actually listening to what I'm saying. You're actually asking questions. You're not pushy. You're not rude.
Yes.
You're not just trying to, push me into a corner. And that's when you really start to get good at prospecting. And it comes by knowing your scripts. It comes by internalizing the scripts. And so writing out your scripts, role playing your scripts, chanting your scripts, getting really good at the scripts, so that when you get on the phones at 8 a.m., you're ready to go. You know what to say, you know how to overcome objections, and that's going to position you for more success than other agents who are just reading off of a piece of paper or just going through the motions.
Yeah. So you recommend writing them out, chanting them, role playing them, right? How much time would it take for somebody to master a script, in your opinion?
Honestly, I think that if you commit to writing it out every single day and role playing it every single day, honestly, I think you could really, I don't want to say master it, but you're going to get a really good handle on it within 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah. So about 30 days of writing it out and role playing it once a day. And you'll be at a position to where the confidence is there. You'll be able to overcome objections. You won't master it, right? Because it takes, hours upon hours to master something. But that's how I started. And all I did when you joined us was teach you what I was taught, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
So, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. And I was going to say, and because it's like this, right? Whether you're an athlete, right? Or whether you're a musician, or whether you're an actor, right? Whatever it may be, the skill work is what gets you good, and we obviously can relate it to football, Jeff, because I know you and I are both big football fans. We see, a 4-quarter, 60-minute game on Sunday, right? But what we don't see is the 5 to 6 days of all day long where teams are running the same play over and 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 over again, so much so that they're getting to the point of mastery. So when they run it in the game, they can execute. Well, it's no different than, prospecting. If you think you're going to get on the phones and you're going to set for sale by owner and expired appointments without practicing, you're in for a rude awakening, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this takes, like Jeff said, hours and hours and hours to really get good at it. And so, what's funny is I have a new agent, that we just hired on our team. And, what I love about her is she has this desire to succeed at a high level, and she's got all these high goals. And what I told her is, don't worry when you first get started on making phone calls, because she wants to master it now. She wants it to be perfect now, which is great. That's a good desire to have. But I told her, I said, mastery comes with making thousands of calls, right? Yeah. Over and over and over and over and over again. And I said, so, continue to make the calls, continue to practice, continue to do these things. And mastery will come, but you can't skip to mastery without putting in the work first.
Yes. Yep. Awesome.
Yep.
So continue with the rest of your morning, or let's talk about lead follow-up, because I know that comes next after the skill work.
Yep. And so after that's done, when you start, here's what I tell people, right? If you're on this call right now, and you are lacking opportunities, right? If you are, you don't have enough deals, right? You're struggling financially. You don't really have any listings. You don't have any clients you're working with. I can tell you what the problem is. The problem is you're not talking to enough people, right? Yeah. Because when you talk to enough people, opportunities will automatically come. If you think about the law of averages, right? And if you want to learn more about that, Jim Rohn has a great video on YouTube called The Law of Averages. And what the law of averages say is if you talk to enough people, opportunities will present themselves. And so when you begin to call expireds and for sale by owners, you're going to automatically generate leads. And what's a lead? A lead is someone that says, hey, you know what? I'm selling for sale by owner right now, but I'm not going to be ready for 2 weeks. Give me a call then, right?
Yep.
A lead is someone who's looking to sell their home within the next 30 days or less. And so after you're calling, and we always say, call 2 to 3 hours a day. And the goal is to make 8 to 10 contacts per hour. And so if you're talking to, 25 to 30 people every morning, you're going to do more business regardless, but you're also going to have more people to add to your lead follow-up. And so from 11 to 12 is when we do lead follow-up. Lead follow-up is all of these expireds or for sale by owners that I've talked to that weren't ready to set an appointment with me at the time, but want me to follow up with them, right? And so I add those into my daily lead follow-up, because lead follow-up sometimes can even be more important than the initial call, meaning this, right? Lead follow-up, right, is really where the appointments are set, right? Yeah, the goal is to get the first person, the first time you talk to set an appointment. But
ideally.
Ideally, but the majority of appointments are set in lead follow-up, right? And I think most agents skip over this, right? They skip over this aspect of it, but this needs to be a crucial time within your morning schedule. Because again, if you're talking to 25, 30 people every day, you're going to have people to follow up with.
Yeah.
I just set an appointment yesterday for sale by owner. I talked to her last week. She wasn't ready to set an appointment, but I had her on my lead follow-up for yesterday. And I set the appointment yesterday to go out and meet with her today. She's a for sale by owner. But if I would have skipped over the lead follow-up time within my schedule, it wouldn't have led me to this listing opportunity that I have with her today. And so prospecting and making the calls from 8 to 10 leads to the opportunities in lead follow-up. And if you don't follow up within the lead follow-up, then you're ultimately going to miss out on a lot of opportunities. And so someone says, well, what does lead follow-up look like? Lead follow-up is basically where you call the expireds and for sale by owners. I use Vulcan 7. That's the dialer that I use. And what I love about Vulcan 7 is there's a section within the actual dial session where you can take notes.
Yep.
And I recommend, if you're making calls, that you want to take notes on every call that turns into a lead follow-up. And here's why. If I call you back, Jeff, and, hey, Jeff, we spoke last week and, hope everything's going well. I know at the time you said that, you were getting ready for your granddaughter's birthday party over the weekend. How'd that go? Right? You're making notes within your lead follow-up so that you can make connection points and bring back up points of the conversation so they know that you're not just BSing them and saying, hey, we talked last week, right?
It's so crucial. You have to bring them back to where they were on that initial call. Otherwise, they're going to think you're just anybody else. They don't remember that you called them.
Yep, absolutely. And so when you go back and you call them, you're basically revisiting, hey, I know you said you wanted to give it 2 weeks as a for sale by owner. And I know you mentioned you were doing an open house on Sunday. Did you get the home sold? No, I didn't. Not too many people showed up. Well, you know what? I can totally appreciate that. And really the only reason why is you're not getting the exposure that you could ultimately get when listing it with an agent. Yeah. And I know you wanted me to follow up with you. And so, I just wanted to call and see if you're ready to get together so I can show you exactly how we can get your home listed and marketed and sold for top dollar, and just go right back into it.
Yep. So you're saying the majority of your appointments are set during lead follow-up, not the initial call?
Well, I wouldn't say the majority of them. I think that the majority of appointments are set during lead follow-up, but I would say a good portion of them are. I've got a pretty good conversion ratio when I make the initial call. And so I would say it's about 50%.
Half, got it. Most agents, though, because their skill levels might not be where yours are just making the contacts and collecting leads. And if they're doing their lead follow-up properly, for the most part, most agents will get the majority of their appointments during the lead follow-up.
Yep, absolutely. And you don't want to skip over lead follow-up, guys. That's so crucial. And then obviously at 12 o'clock, then you take a lunch, right? So you do your prospecting, you do your lead follow-up, and then you take a break, right? You want to take that time, to have mindset, a mindset break, or go on lunch, or, do a workout. And here's what I say: if you don't have any appointments to go on in the evening, right? If you don't have listing appointments set, there's 2 times that are the best times to make calls, right? 8 to 12 in the morning, and then 4 to 8 in the evening. And so if you're not out on appointments and you have the opportunity to get back on the phones from 4 to 8, you're actually going to reach people that weren't reachable in the morning, right? You're going to be able to reach people that didn't answer the call during the day. And I can assure everybody of this. I'll even make a guarantee and a promise, right? That if you pick up the phone and you commit to doing this every day, 5 days a week, you're going to do more business. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because you're talking to more people, more opportunities are going to happen. Guaranteed.
So what would you say to the agent? Because I know, you and I have had a couple conversations about this over the last few years. The contacts per hour. At one point in time, you could get to 14, 15, 16 contacts per hour when, everyone was home and people would answer their phones and we didn't have disconnected numbers and so forth. So the contacts per hour has started to slide over the last 3-4 years. Not started to, it is.
Yeah.
So do you make those up through text messages, through emails, through social media? How do you make up some of those contacts that you were once getting? In an average hour, you were maybe making 13 contacts just by making calls, and now that number might be 9. Where do you make up those other 4 from?
Yep, that's a great question. And so there's a couple of different things, guys, that I've learned how to do. And here's a simple strategy. And Jeff, I think one of the reasons why the contacts have slid back is because there's more robocallers today than ever before. And so here's what I do, guys. Whether it's I'm calling a for sale by owner expired, whether I'm calling an agent, on their listing, or whoever, if they don't answer, call back a second time, right? Because robocallers don't call back a second time. So if I make a phone call and they don't answer, they probably don't know my number. And I'll be honest, I don't answer my phone to most people I don't know the number of because I'm super busy. But what I'll do is I'll make a second call. And guess what? 80% of the time they pick up on the second call. And the reason why is because I'm calling the same number from the same number a second time, and robocallers don't do that. So Jeff, I'll typically try to call back a second time if they don't answer, but also depending on the area and the location, I will send text messages if I can, if I have access to an email, because sometimes Vulcan, actually, provides email addresses. We'll send email addresses. And for those of you guys that, let's say you have a specific area that you're calling in, maybe it's a niche area or an area that you farm or specialize in, go knock on their door. Leave something at their door, right? Knock on their door, see if they answer, leave something at their door, and always leave a voicemail. So I wouldn't say to leave an actual voicemail, but what's great about Vulcan is you can record a voicemail. And there are many times, especially for sale by owners, that will call you back, right? I have a specific, it's real basic. I just say, hey, my name is Justin Ford. I'm a local realtor. The reason I was calling was I have some interest and also some questions in your home. Please give me a call back. And so they call me back like,
One of the things you said was don't leave a real voicemail, but leave a voicemail through Vulcan 7, which I want to clarify that on a second. Now, first of all, we've got a great relationship with Vulcan. We've used them for a long time. Any of you out there that are looking for a system, reach out to Vulcan, tell them you're working with us, or tell them you just came off one of our webinars. They'll take good care of you. We also use Land Voice as well for data. But Justin, one of the things you said there was so crucial that probably a lot of people didn't hear. You said, don't leave a real voicemail, use Vulcan, or any system for that matter that does this, that will leave it for you. Because when the voicemail comes on, you can click a button and it'll leave a 10-second, 15-second, 20-second message of your voice, whatever you recorded. And the reason why that's so important is because if you think about it, if you're going to make 15, 20, call it 20 contacts a day, that means, and tell me if I'm wrong here, because of course you're on the ground also. In order to make 20 contacts, 2/3 of those are not going to answer. So you're probably reaching out to 60 or 70 numbers in order to get 20 people to answer. 1/3 answer. At least that's what I found. So, and would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
So then that means then the 40 people that didn't answer, 40 times 20 seconds, that could add up to be 30, 40 minutes of valuable lead generation time if you're leaving an actual voicemail every single time. So you click the button and it starts dialing the next. Now, one thing that I have found to be successful as well, and I don't know if you're doing this or not, Justin, is especially on the ones you really want, while it's dialing the next one, you're punching in their phone number into your cell phone and you're sending them a recorded message. Hey, this is Realtor Jeff Glover. Your home on Banana Street just came off the market. Give me a call, right? And you're personalizing it to them, and it's being sent off while the phone is ringing on your next prospect. Because let's be honest, there is a lot of downtime when you're prospecting, waiting for people to answer.
Yep, absolutely. And I think it's whatever you can do to set yourself apart from what everybody else is doing. that will cause you to stand out, whether it's a personalized text message or, like you said, Jeff, a video text, or, just calling back 2 times, right? To try to get them to answer the phone.
Good nuggets in there. That's for sure. What else?
Yep. Well, I would say this, right? And so again, I know that within a 45 to 50-minute time, there's no way that we can download and give you guys everything that you need to know. But here's a big one, guys. And right after this, I'm actually going to teach here locally to a group of agents about the same stuff. And I spend more time on this. I just know for the sake of time, we couldn't do it today. But guys, mindset is everything, right? Mindset is the reason why people are very successful, and mindset is the reason why you're not successful. And I think that, one of the things that you really need to ask yourself is what am I afraid of, right? What am I afraid of to get on the phones? Why am I afraid to pick up the phone and actually make these calls?
Yep.
Because honestly, again, it really comes down to rejection. And if we can really learn how to overcome rejection, and we can learn how to overcome people telling us no, because again, there's people, honestly, I get cussed out. I'm sure, I know, Jeff, we all do, right? People tell you to F off, go to hell, get a real job, stop being a bottom feeder, all this stuff. And that scares people. Like, that causes people to, even when I share this, sometimes when I'm doing trainings, like I see agents start to like shake and feel like, oh no, I could never do that.
Yeah.
But here's what I do. And I think that if you approach it from this mindset and this understanding, I think it can really change the game. Everybody on this call, I believe, either believes you're a great real estate agent or you desire to be one. And what do all expired listings, need, right? They need a great real estate agent for whatever reason why their previous real estate agent couldn't get the job done, right? Yep. And they have a reason why they want to sell. I call it their why. Nobody just wakes up in the morning and says, hey, let's sell our home today. It's usually because they're downsizing, they're relocating. Unfortunately, they're going through a divorce, whatever it may be. There's a reason why people pick a real estate agent and list their home. And so when the ball gets dropped and it doesn't sell, they're discouraged, they're frustrated. And so what I look at is every time I call it for sale an expired listing, I'm there to save the day, right? I'm a great agent. I'm what they're looking for. And if I can get in the door, I'm getting the listing, I'm going to sell their home, and I'm going to make that a great experience. And so if you really believe you're a great real estate agent or you desire to be one, then what you need to do is look at every single person that you have the opportunity to call is an opportunity to give them a great real estate agent experience. And so I don't care how many no's I get, right? I'm only looking for 1 to 2 people a day to say yes. And I know when they tell me to F off, I know when they tell me to go to hell, I know when they tell me no, right? I could care less about that, right? Because I've learned how to overcome fear of rejection. I've learned how to overcome those things that used to hold me back. And if you can make a commitment to learn how to overcome those things and make a commitment to get on the phone, guys, you can crush this. You can do it.
Yep. Yeah, no, there's no doubt. And I think at the end of the day, everything that you might fear through picking up the phone can be overcome through skills training. And 100%. I know that's something that, we don't, it's 2021, right? So people are signing up for webinars that say, oh, make $1 million a year in this business without ever making a phone call. Oh, right. Sell 100 homes next year without even talking to a stranger. I got news for you. That's all clickbait. That's all gimmicks. Those are all scams. They're all trying to take your money because they know you'll click on it. Everyone's looking for the easy way out. Yep. And we're proud to say, this is the hardest way to do it, but it's the most profitable and it's the most predictable, right? I mean, what are your thoughts on when you see that stuff? Because you get served those same ads that I get served, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's, again, everybody's looking for the easy way out. Nobody wants to do, if we all had the choice, right? If we all had the choice at the end of the day, we'd all choose to have our phones ringing every day with people that want us to come list their home. If we all had it our way, we post one post on Facebook and we get 20 people that want to work with us. But guys, at the end of the day, that's not going to happen, right? It's not. No. And if you need a deal right now, the fastest way to get a deal right now is to pick up the phone. 2 weeks ago, it was 2 weeks ago on Tuesday. I set two appointments. One was a for sale by owner, one was expired. Same day, come out, meet with me today. I got both listings. I listed one of those listings within a week, got a full price cash offer in like 10 days, right? And so where else can that happen, right? Now we all want our phones to ring. Yeah, we all want to build a database. We all can use, Facebook and all these different tools. And we're not saying to get rid of those and just prospect,
Yep.
but add prospecting into your daily routine. Matter of fact, it's the foundation of mine. So everywhere else I get business, right? That's in addition to, but prospecting daily gets me in front of more people, more conversations than I can ever do on Facebook, than I can ever do with, all of these different other things, is picking up the phone and making the call every day.
Well, and I just want to kind of use this as a great analogy, because there are a lot of things you can do to generate business in real estate. And we get served ads and promotions and stuff all the time. A perfect example of how it's never as easy as it seems. You and I both know Ken Posick. He's actually doing a webinar later today on how to sell a ton of real estate through YouTube. Well, one of the things that I know he'll talk about, because I know Ken very well, you and I both respect Ken, he's going to talk about how every day he had to pound the pavement and go out and knock on doors of business owners to convince them to let him interview them so they could share it on Facebook and get it out there. Well, Justin, that's 2 to 3 hours of walking the streets and knocking on doors. But people sign up for a webinar like that and think, oh, I can sell 100 homes a year through YouTube. This will be great. I'll just set up a video studio in my office. I'll kick back and I'll sell. No, he's going to talk about how you got to get out there and knock on small business owners' doors, interview them, and create great video, right? So at the end of the day, it all goes back to having conversations, period, no matter how you slice it. So if I want to get better at having conversations, if I want to get to your level, if I want to have this in my business every single day, there's an opportunity for people to work with you live in person for 45 to 60 minutes a week. And I know you also do for your group of prospecting boot campers. You get into the Facebook group, because I know there's a private Facebook group for those people, and you actually do live calling in there. Hey guys, I'm calling for sale by owners this morning. Hop on, let's see how it goes, right? So can you tell us a little bit about your prospecting bootcamp program?
Yep, absolutely. And so what we've done, guys, is we've created a 16-week prospecting bootcamp. And basically what we do is we hop on a Zoom call every Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for 45 to 60 minutes, where we literally take you through the complete A to Z of how to do this. Open up every script, every objection handler. We talk about mindset, overcoming every objection. We talk about the different personality styles. We talk about the 25 different ways to go out and generate business, including prospecting, including lead generation. And this course, guys, and I don't say it just because I teach it, right? This is a promise and a guarantee that if you were to go through this program, the cost, guys, is $299 a month for 4 months. It's a $1,200 investment. If you take one listing from what I teach you, it's going to pay for the class, 3 or 4 times over. Easily. Every single person that has gone through this course over the last year and a half that I've taught it, that has actually finished the course and applied what we teach, literally takes more business. I was just down in Miami a couple months ago, met with one of the guys that was in my class. And he said, Coach, I'm taking 3 to 4 to 5 listings every single month consistently. My business has doubled by just applying what you teach. And you know what? I think he won Realtor of the Year in his office. And you know what he said? If I didn't take this course, I would not be doing what I'm doing. Everything that you need to know about prospecting, getting on the phones, we go through scripts together. We go through objection handlers together. You have direct access to me. This course right here, guys, is a game changer. And if you're looking to get really serious about doing this, take the leap of faith and make the commitment. And I promise you that this course will change your business and it'll change your life.
And Justin, we have a lot of lead agents on here or inside sales associates that are part of inside sales teams. So you have a lot of teams that put their agent, when they hire someone new, they just say, listen, I can train you, but you're going to be better off with Justin and Glover you. So you have a lot of ISAs that are brand new going through this, but you also have experienced agents that maybe have been spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on marketing over the last 10 years, not making any money, trying to figure out how to become a great salesperson. You can talk a little bit about who's this for?
Yeah. I mean, this is for the brand new agent who's never even done a deal before. This is for, the experienced agent who just wants to take their business to the next level by learning how to prospect. This is for the team leader who has, I had someone reach out to me at one of the events I spoke with, and she's got like 6 people on her team. She said, "Can I sign my whole team up?" I said, "Absolutely." It's for the inside sales associate who wants to get really good at prospecting and setting appointments. It's for an inside sales manager who has a team of ISAs. I mean, honestly, it's really for anybody that's looking to learn this skill and how to apply it in their business every day.
We used to, when we first launched the program, Justin, I don't know if you remember this, but we said, you know what, prospecting bootcamp is kind of like, you know, if you had the opportunity, it'd be kind of like joining Jeff's team, right? And I'm using, you know, my name in third person or whatever. It's kind of like joining our team without actually joining our team, because this is the same program that we would put you through, with the exception of the fact that you have the same person that was teaching who are a lot of our top agents today, right?
Yep.
So if people want more, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, this guys, this is exactly what Jeff taught me. He said, if you follow my process and you'll trust me, he says, you'll be successful. Guys, this is the exact same system I learned back in 2013, working with Jeff when I sold 100 homes my first year. It's the same system that I still apply today. It's the same system that Jeff's agents still follow today. And we're literally going to give you the blueprint. You're going to learn the A to Z of how to go out and win through prospecting.
Yeah, bingo. Now, if you want more information, I think they threw it down there in the chat. You text prospecting to 55444. That's the word prospecting to 55444 to get signed up for it. It starts next week. And speaking of next week, all of our group training programs start next week. I know many of you have reached out to us asking, okay, I've been on a few of these sessions. I'm trying to decide which one I should take. My recommendation is that you reach out to us at gloveru.com. You can either, you know, go click on programs and fill out a form, and then we'll reach back out to you, or just call us. The number's on the website, gloveru.com, and ask us, hey, here's where I'm at. I've been doing this for 24 months. I sold 30 homes last year. Here's where my business comes from. What do you recommend? Right? If you tell us where you're at in your business, we're going to know which program to place you in. Again, the options, they're all starting next week. The options are building your empire, going from salesperson to CEO. That one's with Matt Sutter. We've got buyer mastery with Jolyn Mercica. That's specifically for those that want to succeed and become better buyers agents and have more of their offers accepted and generate more leads and so forth. We've got operations mastery. That's specifically for administrative assistants or business owners, right? We have a lot of lead agents that actually take operations mastery so they can learn everything we're doing to improve the customer experience, and then taking that and putting that into their business. That's with our operations manager, Taylor Cornfield. I'm doing listing mastery. That also starts next week, and that's a 4-month program on how to become a great listing agent. And finally, you just heard from Justin today, also starting next week, prospecting boot camp. So for information on today's session, you text prospecting to 55444. For information on any one of those others that I just mentioned, you go to gloveru.com, click on programs. They're all there. We keep the audience size small. Like I said, I mean, some of these groups, we only allow 12 to 15 seats, depending on the topic. Some of them up to 25, 30, or a little bit more than that. Why is that? So that way you actually have interaction with your coach. Today, this is a webinar. This is not group coaching. This is a webinar. The difference between a webinar and group coaching is a webinar, you have 1 or 2 people that speak and you don't get to interact with them. When it's group coaching, you get, you know, hey, who's got questions on that? Who would like to find out more about that? Who would like to learn more about that? Let's have a role play session right here live on the spot. And in terms of prospecting bootcamp, you know, you've got a coach that's on the ground doing it. So the reality is the information is relevant to right now. So this was the final of our spring webinars. Justin, thank you for joining us today. We will see you, many of you, next week in one of our 5 programs. We can't wait to put you in a position to succeed at the highest level possible this spring and summer. And we will see you all soon. Bye-bye.